Hillary Clinton. He's the author of the new book, Microtrends Squared, and he joins us tonight. Mark, thanks a lot for coming on.
Thank you.
So you wrote kind of an amazing piece the other day in The Hill, titled something like, Questions I Have for Robert Mueller. Tell us some of the questions that, if you could ask, you would.
Well, remember, Tucker, I spent a year working with President Clinton against Ken Starr and that effort. And I just
I remember very well.
I just find that was child's play to what's going on here. And I think that, well, Mueller has some questions about what the president was thinking when he fired Comey. Well, I certainly have some questions about what he was thinking when first he went to apply for the FBI job in the first place with Rosenstein and then turns around the next day. Didn't he already have a plan when he turned around? Boy, when he put that team together and there wasn't a single Trump donor, what was he thinking then? And when he looked at these dossiers and discovered that there was no foundation here, how did he deal with that? And how does he justify, these kinds of really stormtrooper tactics? I think is perhaps not an exaggeration when you go guns drawn to political consultants, wiretaps all over the place over payments to porn stars. This thing has gotten out of control. And while he wants to question the president, it seems that no one can really question either Mueller or Comey or Rosenstein. And that is precisely the problem.
Yeah, it is the problem. And I hate to admit it, since I supported the Ken Starr independent counsel investigation, and I look back in shame because of that. But that was the case that the Clinton people made at the time. There's no oversight here, and that's a huge problem, and it turns out you were right about that. In your piece, you made reference to his behavior in Boston when he worked there in the Whitey Bulger case. Briefly summarize that, if you would, because I thought it was really interesting.
Well, really, the question, and I think Professor Dershowitz has really been out on this thing, that in the Bulger case, there were 4 innocent people in jail due to prosecutorial misconduct, and he was head of the office. And so you do not really find him in the legal cases, but that means he waited until the courts overturned things to release the people. And so what was he thinking when that was happening? How did he permit that? How did he permit these kinds of gross abuses? And how does he then supervise an investigation now that seems to be filled with them?
Mark Penn, again, you have authority on this subject, and so it's nice to hear from you. Thanks a lot.
I went through it once, and I hope America doesn't go through it again.
Yeah. Hillary never would have allowed this. She was too smart for this, there's no doubt. Thank you.
Thank you.
China has a plan in place to displace this country as the world's strongest power. A top expert on this subject will explain how that's working, and unfortunately it is working. And then we'll talk to Marco Rubio, who's taken a profound interest in this all of a sudden. It's an interesting